I don't think that's how you're supposed to solve that. We finally made it to the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and to no one's surprise, it's pretty awesome. Today I'm here with my first impressions after some time with it this weekend. I'm a big fan of how the game begins you on a sky island. Right away, we're thrust into an all-new environment, which is great since the game feels very mechanically similar to Breath of the Wild. The tutorial revolves around finding and completing a few introductory shrines, all very similar to the bite-sized puzzle dungeons we know and love from the previous game. Each tutorial shrine teaches us about one of the new abilities stemming from Link's corrupted left arm. Then, the Ultra Hand, Fuse, Ascend, and Recall abilities are subsequently used to reach and complete the next shrine objective. And this is where I really started to get what was going on in Tears of the Kingdom. Amazingly, there are many different ways to utilize these new abilities to get where you want to get. Upon obtaining the Ultra Hand ability from one of the early shrines, the various objects strewn all over the island become valuable puzzle-solving tools. This is where the excitement of all the possibilities kinda got to me, and clouded my mind a bit. Instead of going with the simple, and one could make the case, intended solution, I found myself using stray materials and Zonai capsules to reach the next shrine in some outlandish ways. My brain was somehow not understanding that this hook should be attached to the one intact rail, so instead I kept adding fans to the cart until I built enough speed to make the jump and clear the gap with its momentum. Hey, if it works, it works. Similarly, I didn't notice the climbable route that lets Link scale this icy surface, so instead I tried for hours to make a flying machine that could lift me up to the shrine. Yeah, I was in the tutorial for way too long, but that's because I was having so much fun. The new abilities, Ultra Hand in particular, gives Tears of the Kingdom's tutorial a lot of depth. I don't think I've had this much fun with a game's tutorial, probably ever. It was brilliant, smiles from ear to ear. While Ultra Hand does kinda steal the show, the other abilities are also a joy to use. The development team were really flexing their muscle creating these, because until now, I would have never pictured a Zelda game doing some of the things Tears of the Kingdom does. Fuse allows for an overwhelming number of item-weapon combinations, some you would never expect. Elemental arrows are created by attaching various fruits. Fuse a rock to your shield to create a stone basher, effectively replacing the need for bombs to clear up rubble. I feel like I still haven't even seen the best of it when it comes to item fusions, but it has been great so far. I had a blast spewing fire with a flame-throwing shield, or recreating that trailer scene with Link striking down a flying Arrokuda with a homing Kisai arrow. While I wasn't sure about Ascend at first, wow is it useful. Large climbs were one of the more daunting parts of Breath of the Wild, and Ascend does a lot to alleviate them, because if there's a large vertical face in front of you, a lot of the time the devs will have placed a cliff above it to quickly ascend upon. There have been a few clever recall puzzles so far, and while I've used it the least of all the new abilities, I can see its potential quite clearly. Reversing fallen stones to ride up toward the Sky Island is really cool in practice. Seeing a fallen stone on the map is a good reminder while on the surface to be aware of what's above. And if you choose to ride that stone upward, there's likely something interesting. Right now, I'm completely smitten by the building aspect. I've already tried building cars to shuttle me across Hyrule Field, building steerable boats completely DIY, and flying machines to reach high up treasures. It's so much fun, and I know I haven't even seen the half of it yet. One thing I do wish we had, and for all I know it is in the game, I just haven't unlocked it yet, is a way to save the creations we build. It would be great to save our best new builds on a list that could be quickly summoned at any time, as long as we have the required materials as capsules. Assembly takes quite a bit of time, so having to build and rebuild each time you want to fly or use a boat can get tedious, regardless of how fun it actually is. Shrines are back in essentially the same capacity as their previous appearance. These are separated mini puzzles that serve as fast travel points across the map once completed. A brilliant system that makes its triumphant return. I loved these things in Breath of the Wild. I completed every single one of them, and as I look back, they were one of my favorite parts of the entire game. So I was thrilled to find out that they're back. I was afraid they wouldn't be. Instead of looking out in the distance for that iconic shrine orange, now try looking for these green spirals scattered across the map. Speaking of points of interest on the map, it takes just one skydiving trip to notice the several large gloom-filled chasms that have opened opened up on the ground. I entered one of these not too long ago and was absolutely floored by the huge dark underground cavern I came across. I had no idea we'd be exploring Hyrule's underground in quite this capacity, and in my short time below the surface, I've already come across some crazy flora and fauna. I'm so excited to dip back underground and explore more soon. Can't wait to see how far this area goes. And it's not just underground caverns. Even above ground, there are a ton of caves. While I knew that there were going to be caves in this game, they're everywhere, and that's what caught me by surprise. Like, as soon as I hit the surface, I came across a random small cave built into a rock face. I really didn't think caves would be this much of a thing in Tears of the Kingdom, but they are now a major part of moment-to-moment exploration in several areas, filled with new enemies like bubble frogs, horoblins hanging from the ceiling. I faced a like that thankfully didn't steal any of my weapons or items. I even found a Sheikah tower with its entrance locked, and the only way in was going into the cave below it, bashing through rocks, and then ascending up into the tower through the cave ceiling. It's awesome stuff, because you never know what to expect inside. In caves, the element of surprise is in full effect, making this, so far, an adventure game of the highest caliber. Control-wise, this feels very much like Breath of the Wild, and it's very easy to slip into the headspace that you are in fact playing that game. That being said, there are a lot of new additions, like a redone inventory system and some other nice quality of life changes. Quick Select and Link's new abilities are all easy to flip through, and there are a bunch of new recipe status effects. I'm sure I haven't seen them all yet, but I've made meals with glowing fruits that make Link's skin radiant enough to light up dark caves, and made climbing a cliff in the rain actually possible by increasing slip resistance, harvesting these cool little lizards. But cool is the key word here. I've come across so much interesting stuff in the world that it's had me completely preoccupied. I've been attacked by a walking tree, I joined a troop of villagers raiding a monster horde, and I approached a bokoblin encampment that rose into a full stone talus. Okay, while the full surprise of that one was kinda ruined by the pre-release trailers, it still caught me off guard in the moment. As a result of the world's intrigue, I haven't done a single story mission past getting the paraglider. I just haven't felt the need. But even so, I am excited to see how the story progresses. Things are set up pretty interestingly already with the revival of the mummy, the upheaval, and the full acknowledgement of the Zonai. I have map pins in every region, and I'm super excited to tackle those missions. I have a feeling whatever they are will be similar to the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild, since there's one residing in each corner of the map. But to tell you the truth, I have no idea. I haven't even stepped foot in Eldin, Gerudo, or Hebra yet, let alone the sky or underground in any of those areas. And by the way, I've already played this game for double-digit hours, and there's that much more to see. That's just insane. But enough speculation, because the game is actually out, sitting right in front of me. So it's my job to get back to exploring. We made it, everyone. A new 3D Zelda is finally here, and it's gonna be a great couple of months.